Starfield has no shortage of amazing legendaries you can grab early on, especially if you follow the side content. If you're looking for an awesome looking armor set, some guaranteed very strong weapons and other cool items, this is going to be the video for you. Plus, we're gonna dive right in with some details on how to almost always guarantee get legendaries no matter what, so let's jump right in. Let's get started with this really easy to miss legendary Mantis armor set you can get from early on. It's possibly one of the best you can get at this stage. It's full on guarantee legendary, plus during the same side mission you also get a very powerful starship, so this is going to be a much better upgrade than your starting frontier. Now, to get this, you need to follow the mission called Mantis, which you can find right here in your log at the misc section. If you didn't see it yet, it means that you need to find a certain item that will open this up. So that item is going to be a text log called Secret Outpost. If you just follow the main story up until like the third or the fourth one, which is back to Vectara, during that mission, if you just loot bodies, you should definitely be able to find it. But if you do that, this is going to open up that data entry. You can read it, and this is going to tell you about a secret outpost with some very strong items in a system called the Nebula 1B. So this is going to be very close to the Aquila city system, so it has its own route you can follow, and you will need to defeat a bunch of enemies inside of this outpost. But as you push deeper in the outpost, eventually you're going to reach the Mantis layer, clear the enemies inside, and there are two main rewards you can extract from this place. One of which is going to be located in the gym area. Behind the lockers, you're going to find this room with the armor set in the middle of this display case, and this is going to be a guaranteed legendary. This is going to give you a bunch of very strong resistances that can help you a ton early on. It also gives you some adaptive armor, so you can mitigate some of the incoming damage, and it can also randomly set enemies on fire when they attack you. But there's also a second reward if you just go in the cave instead of taking the elevator upstairs. So in this case, you can just press the button to make the launch pad go up, and from this point on, you can make your way outside again using the elevator, and this is where your new starship will await you. This is actually an amazing option to have early on. It's definitely an upgrade compared to your frontier if you did not spend any money on upgrading that. So its engines are better, the grav drive is better, also the firepower on this thing is just off the charts, so you will absolutely destroy enemy ships in the early stages of the game with this. Plus, it looks really awesome, and it has a lot more room, so it is a lot more spacious than the others. At number 2, we have this really awesome fully modded legendary pistol called the KeelHauler that you get during the Crimson Fleet side story. So this is something that deals a ton of damage, comes in fully modded, and it's an amazing option to have both if you play as a stealthy characters, but even outside of stealth, in general combat, it's going to absolutely destroy enemies. Now, to grab this, you need to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet, and to do that, you need to start the mission called Deep Cover. Now, there are a couple of ways in which you can start this, but basically just commit any crime in the United Colonies, like for example, very close to New Atlantis. In my case, I was caught with some contraband and immediately brought to jail. During this, you're going to have the option to take up a certain deal, which is to infiltrate the Crimson Fleet. So definitely accept that, because that's also going to let you align yourself with that faction should you choose to, so it kind of shoots two birds with one stone. But yeah, just follow the main Crimson Fleet missions from this point on. There are a couple of them that you need to complete all the way until you open this one called Echoes of the Past. So this is going to be just about 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay, and once you do finish Echoes of the Past, go back to the key and talk to Delgado, the leader of the Crimson Fleet. He is going to give you that legendary pistol right away. At number 3, we have the Peacekeeper, and even though this is a rare rifle, honestly, this deals so much damage and it so easily one-shots enemies that it could easily be considered a legendary. Plus, it comes full-on modded, so you do get a ton of benefits out of it. So to get this, you need to complete the mission called Ground Pounder that again you find in the misc section of your quest log. This is something that opens up as an option on your first visit in the Altair system. So when you first visit that location, you should get a distress call from a certain NPC, and if you accept to help them, this is going to open up that quest on the planet called Altair 2. Your objective over here is to rescue a bunch of NPCs, and if you do that successfully, at the end of it, Captain Mayong will give you this weapon at the end, guaranteed, and you're going to be able to use it right away. Now, what makes this so useful is the fact that its ammo is otherwise quite common, so you can easily just replenish it from enemies, and I almost always find myself with a few hundred of these that I can easily just use against them. So if you want a powerful on-demand weapon that's always there available, this is a very solid option. It's also very stable, it comes with some nice accuracy, and again, if you aim for those headshots, it's going to guarantee one-shot them. Even if it's just the upper body, most of the time I notice that it just one-shots everything. But this doesn't mean that you should completely avoid the items you can get from vendors. There are quite a few unique ones that can be very strong and maybe even stronger than some of the legendary variants. So for this, you will need to go to New Atlantis and grab the train or go directly to the commercial district. Once you reach this point, just keep it to the right side up until you reach this location called the UC distribution. So I'm not sure exactly if this requires you to become a UC Vanguard. In this playthrough, I already joined the UC Vanguard, so yeah, basically do that at the mast, also in the New Atlantis, and then come back at this location, because this vendor inside is going to sell two very powerful weapons, one of which is this really cool minigun, and the second one is the rapid shot, also a very strong shotgun. So in this case, yeah, the minigun is absolutely off the charts if you want to shred enemies, especially the bipedal robots and pretty much any robotic enemy or any enemy for that matter. This is going to help you a ton with that. It shoots a ton of bullets per second, so do keep that in mind. But if you ever struggle with any enemy that might be too tanky, you can definitely just completely annihilate them with these. But since this makes use of the very common 7mm ammo, you can basically use this very often, since most enemies will drop a ton of that ammo anyway, so you can continue for a very long time. But we also have the other one, which is quite impressive nonetheless. Even though it is a shotgun, it kind of acts a bit like a rifle. Nonetheless, it's going to deal a ton of damage, so this is going to be a rather precise shotgun that you can get. And because it is a shotgun, the force damage it deals is very high, so you're going to take down enemies in no time. Just be careful that its accuracy kind of tends to drop off after medium range, so do try to stay in that medium range against enemies for the maximum benefit. If you want to shoot anything from afar, you can just choose a different weapon. And this brings us to the final trick. If you want to purely focus on getting a full set of legendaries no matter what, there is actually a trick to do so, and it basically involves the very hard difficulty. So if you switch the game to very hard difficulty, this is also going to make your chances to encounter legendary enemies much higher. But as it happens, it's not just legendary weapons that get to spawn, the chance increases for legendary loot as well. It's not going to be a guarantee, but the chance increases exponentially compared to normal difficulty or anything below that. So in this case, what you'll want to do is to go into new areas, but on the very high difficulty. However, to make this farm efficient, you will first want to save or create a hard save file before you enter any new area. Like for example, anything that involves a loading screen, like going into an underground base or a mine. Make sure that it is that kind of entry. From this point on, go ahead and switch that difficulty to very high and then enter this new area. Once you do so, go ahead, check out the items inside, see if there's anything good in there, like for example, if you find any spacesuit armors or if you find any weapons in containers. If they are of the appropriate quality, grab them and then you're pretty much done. However, if you don't like them, you now have a save file. You can go back, save scum, repeat the same process, go inside and see what the drops are like. And that is pretty much it, how you get full legendary and some of the best items early on. Let me know down below if you found anything that I've missed. In the meantime, totally check out some of my other videos, like how to avoid some very big mistakes early on in Starfield. And I'll see you guys in the next video.